Now we can reveal what kind of machines are used to make chocolate in a real Willy Wonka factory. First, the revolutionary maple pecan fondant center has to be squidged through this giant mangle called the extruder. It's spat out in bite-sized chunks. These pecan chunks then head nervously towards a machine called the bottomer. Here, the fondant center gets its underside smeared with chocolate. And just as it's recovering from the shock, a curtain of molten chocolate is dribbled all over it in a machine called the enrober. This machine can douse almost 40,000 sweets in molten chocolate in just 1 hour. Finally comes the stringing decorator. In a few deft moves, the machine drizzles a chocolate thread onto the waiting sweets, and the chocolate's adventure is nearly complete. All they need is a bit of fancy packaging, and off they go. And so we leave the New Brunswick Oompa Loompas, working away in the snow and ice to bring a little joy into a cold, hard world. Behind the ordinary things that surround us in our daily lives are miraculous advances in engineering, which we rarely get to see. Ingenious solutions to problems most of us never knew existed. Since this program began, a single combine has harvested 25 tons of grain. A lifeboat has been launched and a life saved. And over 62,000 kilograms of chocolate have been consumed in North America. Even the most ordinary objects have an extraordinary story to tell. We only have to watch. Behind the ordinary objects that surround us in our everyday lives lies something extraordinary. Incredible stories of ingenious solutions to problems most of us never knew existed. So what mysteries are concealed in everyday things we take for granted? The Airbus, fire engines, ketchup. Behind the ordinary is the extraordinary. Now revealed as we go behind the scenes, inside the machines to find out how do they do it. The jumbo jet changed the world. Able to carry 500 passengers, it made long-haul travel affordable to millions of people. And for almost 40 years, it was the biggest kid on the block. But not anymore. This monster is the Airbus A380. It's the world's largest commercial airliner. And it's absolutely massive. Fully laden, it weighs over 500,000 kilos, and it's capable of carrying more than 800 passengers. And with a price tag of $330 million, the Airbus A380 is also without doubt the world's largest and most expensive kit plane. Parts of the fuselage come from Germany, parts of the tail from Spain. The engines come from England, and the whole thing is put together in France. 17 years in the planning, the A380 has posed a series of engineering challenges. The biggest was how to get a plane this enormous to fly. Part of the answer was to build the biggest pair of wings ever to grace a passenger jet. They're big, they're graceful, and they're built in this specially designed factory in Wales. Each wing is a record-breaking 36 meters long. The trouble is, these mammoth wings are put under such enormous strain that they have to be super flexible and super strong.
In a normal flight, the tip of the wing would be something like 4 meters up in the air, so that's about my height, again and again, and a bit more.
The outside of each wing is made from 10 vast sheets of aluminium. The problem is, the wing needs to be thicker in some places and thinner in others. The solution is a robot barber, which shaves the metal to the exact thickness required. The panels must then be forced into the right shape, so that they will form the correct degree of curve. To do this, they're roasted for 24 hours in one of the world's largest ovens. The 10 panels are now ready to be bolted to a metal skeleton to form the basic wing. The wings on the A380 require an amazing 750,000 rivets. Stood on its side like this, the wing is as tall as a 5-story building and almost as long as 4 buses. The trouble is, this monster now has to be moved onto the next stage of production. One mistake and millions of pounds could be lost. The crane operator relies on careful hand-eye coordination to gently lift the massive wing. With the wing hanging freely, barely a metre away from the factory wall, any sudden movements could be disastrous. At last, the enormous wing sets out on its first journey, across the factory floor, where it will be lowered onto its side, ready for the hydraulics and wiring to be installed. It will then take 10 nerve-wracking minutes for the Airbus crew to maneuver the wing into place. From this angle, you can see that the wing is divided into a series of compartments.
The entire wing is a fuel tank. It's bounded up into different compartments, so you've got separate fuel tanks within the whole wing. And that allows you to transfer fuel from one area to another and feed the different engines that you've got.
On takeoff, the fuel helps to weigh the wing down, counteracting the lift forces that are trying to bend the wing up. It will take 28 days to fit the wing with its hydraulics, electrics, and fuel tanks. But then comes a very major challenge: how to transport the wing over 1,000 kilometers so it can be fitted to the body of the plane in France. How do you transport the biggest passenger jet wing in the world when it can't yet fly? The answer, at least to start with, is by road. The wing is carried on the back of this extraordinary vehicle. It's got 96 wheels, weighs 200 tons, and most bizarrely of all, it doesn't have a driver. At least not inside. Instead, he walks in front, steering the thing via remote control. This is perhaps the most difficult journey of this wing's life. The traffic is stopped as Steve gently guides the massive wing over the narrow humpback bridge. He's trying to ensure the wing follows a white line marked specially on the road. Steve will walk backwards for over a mile, steering the wing round sharp bends, past farms and alongside fields.
I do feel proud, really, because I know when it actually goes into service, I'm at an airport and I see a 380 parked up, or maybe even lucky enough to be actually flying on one, that I can look at those wings and know that I've had something to do with those.
Steve can relax as the wing reaches the river. From here, it will be loaded onto a barge to travel to France by sea. Then it will be unloaded and complete its journey by convoy to Toulouse. There, the enormous plane will come together, and the world's largest passenger aircraft will at last be ready for takeoff.
I remember when the A380 flew for the first time, and it's just the sense of incredible pride and excitement at just seeing this thing lift off the ground. Every time I get a tingle of excitement down my spine.
Behind the ordinary is the extraordinary. Coming up, building a fire engine is so highly specialized, very few companies in the world can do it. The engineering secrets inside fire engines. Next, on How Do They Do It? Early morning, Washington, D.C., and a young woman is trapped in a burning tower. At the Washington Fire Department a few kilometers away, the firefighters respond to the call. It's only a drill, but they're taking it deadly seriously, and every second counts. It's vital they can depend on a fire engine which will start reliably every time, get them to the scene quickly, and do its job when it gets there. It's literally a matter of life and death. Fire engines today are sophisticated, high-tech machines.